So what's the biggest thing you've taken away from the non-conference play so far with one game left in the non-con?
The biggest thing was it was a learning experience and just showing that we have to grow up quickly and get our roles together and everything, and we'll be fine if we can keep maturing as the season goes on.
What's one thing that you guys are going to take away and say, hey, we still need to work on this, and we can get better in this area?
Just rebounding and also just taking our time on offense and finding the open person.
And with USF on Sunday, a pretty good opponent to end the non-conference. What are you hoping to take away from that matchup heading into conference play?
I'm hoping to take away that we just get better as a team and we're one step better than we were from the last game. And with that, it will help us mature and get ready for season play.
It's going to be your first Big Ten conference season. You were in a pretty difficult conference in the ACC. So what can you expect from the Big Ten, a pretty tough conference?
I mean, I can expect it's gonna be hard, and we just gotta be ready. And all the teams are good. Every Big Ten team is good, so it's gonna be a lot of good competition.
And Candace has really come into her own the past couple of years. What do you think has been the biggest reason for that?
Just people finding her, our guards finding her in the post. That's the biggest reason why Candace, and her calling for the ball. If she's calling for the ball and she's there and we can see her, she's going to get easy buckets.
How dominant could she be inside for you?
She could be very dominant. After she gets the ball and she posts them up, there's no one that can stop her.
All right, Coach, final game of the non-conference.
Yep.
Evaluate what you've seen from your team in the non-conference play.
You know what? I think we are starting to gain our identity a little bit. I think we're really starting to establish our inside play. We're still working out the kinks a little bit on our transition and just our spacing and things of that nature. But I think we're seeing, well, I shouldn't say I think, we are seeing some growth from the team from our first game up into our most recent game.
What's the most promising aspect about your players just in terms of how they've approached the season and how they've continually gotten better so far?
Well, you know what? They're not afraid to work. I think one of the things that you can see from the first game to our last game versus Ryder, there's been growth in each and every player in a certain aspect of their game because they've been putting in the extra time that we've asked them to fine-tune some things. So now we need to mesh that together collectively so that we can get the team performing as well as it can perform.
With USF to end the non-conference, what's the biggest thing you're looking at there?
Well, you know what? USF, I believe they're off to about an 8-3 or 8-2 start, something like that, and they've shown that they have a pretty dynamic scorer in Courtney Williams. I think she's averaging close to 20 points a game. So they're a team that will look to run, but they're also will get in their half-court sets, and they're pretty dominated by Courtney in terms of her shot attempts, and everyone plays off of her. So we'll have our hands, really full in trying to slow her down and slow their team down.
And how will this game prepare you guys for conference play?
Well, I think you're looking at an NCAA caliber opponent, and that's always good heading into conference play because we're going to play teams of that caliber day in and day out. They're a fast team, they're an athletic team, so that will just prepare us for some of the teams that we'll see in conference.
When you get to conference play, what do you think is the biggest thing you can take away from the non-conference and say, hey, we did this here, we can translate it into Big Ten play?
Well, I think, like I said before, we're starting to establish our identity and having a dominant inside presence with Candace AG. I think that's definitely something we can carry over into our conference season as well as solidifying our transition game. That's what most people know and expect from us, and now we're just working out the kinks and fine-tuning and getting things to kind of function the way we need them to.